Imagine you are formulating a drug compound in a biomedical lab, and getting the ratio of chemicals even slightly wrong could mean the medication fails to work, or worse, becomes harmful. That precision in chemical quantities is not guesswork. It is stoichiometry at work. I am Miss Kathy, and today we are going to explore stoichiometry, the mathematical backbone of chemical reactions. You will learn how to use mole ratios, balanced equations, and mass relationships to calculate exactly how much of each substance is needed or produced in a reaction, skills that are absolutely essential in biomedical engineering, pharmaceutical production, and materials design. Let us dive in together and build that foundation. Take a moment to carefully study this diagram and note the key relationships and values shown. By the end of this session, you will be able to explain the difference between empirical and molecular formulae. The empirical formula gives you the simplest whole number ratio of atoms in a compound. Think of it as a recipe scaled down to its smallest possible form. The molecular formula tells you the actual number of atoms in one molecule. Hydrogen peroxide is a classic example. Its empirical formula is HO, but its true molecular formula is H2O2. Now, this section focuses on empirical and molecular formulae, two fundamental ways chemists and engineers express the composition of a compound. The empirical formula gives the simplest whole number ratio of atoms in a compound, while the molecular formula tells you the actual number of each type of atom in one molecule. Understanding both is critical when analyzing reaction stoichiometry, designing chemical processes, or working with material specifications in engineering practice. There are 3 types of chemical formulae you need to know, and each one tells you something different about a compound. The molecular formula gives you the actual count of every atom in one molecule. For example, glucose is C6H12O6. The empirical formula strips that down to the simplest whole number ratio. Glucose becomes CH2O. The structural formula goes further and shows you how those atoms are bonded and arranged. Here is the key link. The molecular formula is always a whole number multiple of the empirical formula. In engineering applications like combustion analysis or material synthesis, knowing which formula to use determines how accurately you calculate reactant and product quantities. Let us use ethane to see how all 3 formula types connect to each other. The molecular formula, C2H6, tells you the exact count, 2 carbon atoms and 6 hydrogen atoms in one molecule. The empirical formula, CH3, strips that down to the simplest whole number ratio. Notice that multiplying CH3 by 2 brings you right back to C2H6, which is how these 2 formulas always relate. The structural formula goes further. It shows you how atoms are actually bonded, each carbon connected to 3 hydrogens and to each other. In engineering practice, each formula serves a different purpose. Molecular formulas drive stoichiometric calculations, empirical formulas appear in combustion analysis, and structural formulas guide reaction mechanism work. Knowing which one to use and why is a fundamental engineering skill. Take a moment to carefully study this diagram and note the key relationships and values shown. Now, what connects these 2 formula types? The molecular formula is simply the empirical formula multiplied by a whole number, which we call N. So if your empirical formula is CH2O and N equals 3, your molecular formula becomes C3H6O3. That is lactic acid, found in your muscles during exercise. Why does this matter in engineering? The molecular formula tells you the exact atomic composition, which you need for calculating molar masses and reaction quantities. The empirical formula reveals the simplest underlying ratio, which is critical when analyzing unknown compounds experimentally. You often get the empirical formula first from combustion analysis, then work backwards to find the molecular formula. And just a quick note, there is a 3rd type called the structural formula, which goes one step further by showing how atoms are actually bonded and arranged in space. That becomes important later when properties depend on molecular geometry, not just composition. Before we go through this together, pause the video and give this a shot on your own. All right, let us work through deriving an empirical formula from percentage composition. Step 1, we assume a 100-gram sample. This is a classic trick that makes the math clean and straightforward. Whatever the percentage is, we simply treat it as grams. So 85.72% carbon becomes 85.72 grams of carbon, and 14.28% hydrogen becomes 14.28 grams of hydrogen. Step 2, we convert those masses into moles, because stoichiometry works in moles, not grams. We divide each mass by its molar mass. Carbon gives us 85.72 divided by 12.0, which equals 7.14 moles. Hydrogen gives us 14.28 divided by 1.0, which equals 14.28 moles. A common mistake here is dividing by the wrong molar mass. Always double-check which element you are working with. These mole values now tell us the relative number of atoms of each element present in the compound, which sets us up perfectly for the next step. Here is your chance to attempt steps 3 and 4 before I walk you through them. Pause now and see if you can finish this problem on your own. All right, let us work through the final 2 steps together. In step 3, we divide both mole values by the smallest mole value, which is 7.14. Carbon gives 7.14 divided by 7.14, which equals 1. Hydrogen gives 14.28 divided by 7.14, which equals 2. This gives us a clean whole number ratio of carbon to hydrogen of 1 to 2. A common mistake here is forgetting to divide all elements by the smallest value. Always divide every element consistently. In step 4, we simply use those whole number ratios as subscripts, giving us the empirical formula CH2, meaning 1 carbon atom for every 2 hydrogen atoms. This is the simplest possible ratio representing the composition of compound Z. Before we go through this together, pause the video and give this a shot on your own. All right, let us work through deriving a molecular formula from an empirical formula. We start by calculating the empirical formula mass of CH2. Carbon has a relative atomic mass of 12, and hydrogen is 1, so we get 1 times 12 plus 2 times 1, which gives us 14 grams per mole. Next, we note the actual molar mass of the real compound, which is given as 28 grams per mole. We will use these 2 values together in the next step to find the true molecular formula, so keep them handy. So, picking up from where we left off, we have our empirical formula, which is CH2, and our actual molar mass of 28 grams per mole. In step 3, we calculate the scaling ratio by dividing the actual molar mass by the empirical formula mass. That gives us 28 divided by 14, which equals 2. This tells us 2 empirical units make up 1 complete molecule. In step 4, we multiply every subscript in CH2 by that ratio of 2, giving us C2H4. A common mistake here is forgetting to scale every element. Make sure you multiply all subscripts, not just one. The molecular formula of compound Z is C2H4, which you may recognize as ethylene, a gas widely used in the plastics industry to manufacture polyethylene. That connection between formula derivation and real industrial materials is exactly why this process matters in engineering chemistry. So we have an empirical formula of CH2 and a molar mass of 42 grams per mole. First, calculate the empirical formula mass. Carbon is 12, hydrogen is 2 times 1, giving us 14 grams per mole. Then, divide the molar mass by the empirical formula mass. 42 divided by 14 equals 3. So we multiply the subscripts by 3, giving us the molecular formula C3H6. Now, let us look at the 3 types of chemical formula, because in stoichiometry, you will encounter all of them and need to know the difference. The molecular formula tells you the exact count of each atom in one molecule. For example, glucose has 6 carbons, 12 hydrogens, and 6 oxygens. The empirical formula strips that down to the simplest whole number ratio. Glucose and formaldehyde share the same empirical formula, even though they are completely different compounds. The structural formula goes further. It shows how atoms are bonded and arranged, which matters enormously in engineering applications, like polymer design or reaction mechanism analysis. Here is the key connection. The molecular formula is always the empirical formula multiplied by a whole number. Think of it like a recipe. The empirical formula is the base ratio of ingredients, and the molecular formula tells you the actual batch size used in that molecule. Here is your chance to attempt this before I walk you through it. Pause now and work out the empirical formula for a compound with the molecular formula C4H8. To simplify, find the greatest common divisor of the subscripts 4 and 8, which is 4. Divide both by 4 and you get C1H2, written simply as CH2. That is your empirical formula, the simplest whole number ratio of carbon to hydrogen atoms in this compound. A common mistake here is forgetting to check if the ratio can be reduced further, or leaving the subscript 1 written explicitly. Remember, we never write the 1. Also note that CH2 alone does not tell you the actual molecule. Many different compounds can share this same empirical formula, which is exactly why we distinguish between empirical and molecular formulas in chemical analysis and engineering applications. Here is your chance to attempt this before I walk you through it. Pause now and see if you can determine the empirical formula of compound Z, which contains 85.72% carbon and 14.28% hydrogen by mass. Let us work through it together. In step 1, we assume a 100-gram sample. This is a classic trick. It lets us treat percentages directly as grams, making the math much cleaner. In step 2, we convert those masses to moles. Carbon gives us 85.72 divided by 12.0, which equals 7.14 moles. Hydrogen gives us 14.28 divided by 1.0, which equals 14.28 moles. A common mistake here is forgetting to use molar mass. Never skip this conversion. In step 3, we divide both values by the smallest mole value, which is 7.14. Carbon gives exactly 1, and hydrogen gives exactly 2. So the empirical formula is CH2, 1 carbon atom for every 2 hydrogen atoms. This represents the simplest whole number ratio of atoms in the compound, which is the foundation for identifying unknown substances in chemical analysis and quality control in engineering processes and environment. Here's your chance to attempt this before I walk you through it. Pause now and see if you can convert the empirical formula to the molecular formula on your own. So we have compound Z with an empirical formula of CH2 and an actual molar mass of 28 grams per mole. Let us walk through this together. In step 1, we calculate the empirical formula mass. Carbon has a relative atomic mass of 12, and hydrogen is 1. So 1 times 12 plus 2 times 1 gives us 14 grams per mole. In step 2, we find the scaling factor by dividing the actual molar mass by the empirical formula mass. That is 28 divided by 14, which equals 2. This tells us the molecular formula is exactly twice the empirical formula. In step 3, we multiply every subscript in CH2 by 2. Carbon becomes 2, hydrogen becomes 4, giving us C2H4, which is ethylene, a real industrial chemical used in plastics manufacturing. A common mistake here is forgetting to multiply every element. Always scale all subscripts, not just one. The molecular formula represents the actual number of atoms in one molecule, which is critical for understanding reaction behavior and properties. Take a moment to carefully study this diagram and note the key relationships and values shown. And that wraps up our lesson on stoichiometry. We covered mole ratios, limiting reagents, and percent yield, 3 foundational skills every engineer relies on when scaling chemical processes, designing reactors, or formulating materials. Whether you are developing pharmaceuticals, fuels, or environmental solutions, stoichiometry keeps your calculations grounded in reality. Keep practicing these calculations, and do not stop at the textbook. Explore real industrial applications to deepen your understanding. Once again, this is Miss Kathy. Be blessed and be a blessing to others.